father's a friend of mine.
And just a minute, boys, I got the feedbox noise. It says the great-grandfather was...
Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill, a special Breeders' Cup
special edition
preview. Yeah. We're going to preview the Friday, October 31st races from Santa Anita. There's 10 races. We'll quickly go through all of them. And as well, of course, on Saturday, November the 1st, 12 races on the second Breeders' Cup day.
The big day,
so lots going on. I know you're jam-packed here at the Derby.
Yeah, this is one of our biggest weekends, of course. This, along with the Kentucky Derby, the Triple Crown Series. But Breeders' Cup weekend's always super fun here. And very full, but feel free to come on down, have yourself get a beer and watch some races.
Hope the weather's nice, the patio will be open. There's lots of TVs here. But let's get into the first race.
No such thing as a bad,
you lead it off.
Bad side. First race, we got a Fillies and Mares optional 40 down the tricky downhill 6.5 turf course. You'll see that a few times this weekend. They do use that downhill turf course quite a bit this weekend, which are good races. I've gone to the 7, 3-year-old filly.
Night Song.
Lightly raced 3-year-old filly, Simon Callahan has. She's coming over from Great Britain. Broke her maiden first start out, a good second in her second start, and even a good race in her last one, which was a stake there. Only got beat 4.5 lengths. And they're bringing her over here. Obviously, she's coming over on the plane with a lot of the Breeders' Cup horses.
Right.
But she's not just coming along for the ride. She's Spencer, a very accomplished European rider in the saddle, and with her on top. I went to the 5 Starry Skies out of the Martin Jones barn. Pretty well raced filly, mare I should say, only 10 starts, but she's run 5 times down this turf course, 2 wins and 2/3, so she knows this turf course well, which could help a filly, because it is a little tricky. The
local knowledge is a lot, and these 6.5 furlong races, maybe they don't like 6 furlongs at other tracks, but 6.5 down the hill, if you got a horse that's taken a liking to it,
it's a little bit different.
They don't need to be as good because they're as talented as their rivals. But if they take to it, that's a big plus because that'll win them the race.
Exactly, which is why I went my 3rd horse, Intoxicating Move, out of the Phil D'Amato barn. Corey Nakatani rides, coming off a second in a very similar race. This is the first condition allowance. Been over this course 6 times, 2 wins, 3 seconds. She's always right there on the tricky downhill turf. I went 7, 5, and 11.
This is tough to handicap. We're used to the 5, 6, 7 horse fields at Hastings, and
14
you
horses.
Cross out a couple. But this was homework, and it was fun to go through a lot of the races. I ended up on the 3 horse. Bling is my thing.
Yeah, I looked at her.
Coming back for Cruel Jack. This horse, I just like the company lines the horse had. Like Pontchartrain was a very nice horse back there in July of last year. It was going very well. I think for Tom Proctor. I don't want to say Willard Proctor, but it was for Tom Proctor. And this horse ran second behind it. Well respected, was well bet in those races. Obviously something went wrong. I like the comeback works. I'm going to give this horse a shot. Let's go with the 3. Bling is my thing. I agree with your 7 horse Night Song. I put that one in for second. Another one off since 2013. I got 2 year layoff or plus year layoff horses. But it looks like he came over, like as you mentioned, with some Breeders' Cup horses. Might not have got in the 3-year-old filly race, the juvenile fillies turf. So because of earnings or whatever, but does fit nicely in this number as a 1. And I put the 8 horse, Hide My Heart. Speed for John Sadler. Joel Rosario rides. If this horse can get away on the head end, perhaps it might be live. But the horse has obviously been a private purchase. Another one's been off a long time. But these guys get horses ready to fire fresh. So it wouldn't be a big surprise. I'm going to try 3, 7, and 8 in the Breeders' Cup. Well, it's not the Breeders' Cup race, but the Breeders' Cup initial card on Friday in race number 1. Next up will be the
mile and
marathon, the Las Vegas Marathon. It's a grade 2 event, $200,000, mile and 3/4.
Whenever you go to Las Vegas, it's a bit of a marathon.
It is. It's there's no rating.
No sprint.
There's no rating either. It's just all out, a mile and 3/4. Look it's not often you see a race of this 14 furlongs where there's so much speed in it. And I see a bunch of speed. I mean, usually they're all 1-run closers, but that's not the case. And I think things will play out nicely for the 9 horse Carey Street. This horse does own a win at 1.5 miles at Parks, which is a very tiring racetrack. So 2:30 and change is a very good time. Follow that up with a decent effort at Belmont on a lousy racetrack. This horse got caught down on the inside on a track he did not want to be on the inside. So can you imagine going 1 mile and 5/8 on a laboring inside, like on the wrong part of the racetrack? That's why he finished 3rd. Those are good horses. Ever Rider and Village Warrior that finished ahead of him. So I'm going to go to Carey Street at a nice price. But the 5, Big Casanova, seems to be the best local horse in California. He likes to run fast early, and he can carry his speed a long way, so I'll put him in the mix. Not much value, though. He's only 5-2 on the line. And I put the 7, Sky Kingdom. Too close to the pace last time. Expect Victor Espinoza to drop him back, get him 10, 12 lengths out of it. You don't want to be anywhere near this pace because let's say the one big kick's going to go. You got Big Casanova. Mystery Train was near the lead.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horses that want to be prominent early. I just wanted to take on the horses that come from out of it. I went 9, 5, and 7.
I have pretty much similar horses. I did put the 5 Big Casanova on top, as you mentioned.
Best horse, I think.
Yeah,
but
ran in the
worried
Jockey
he's gonna
Club
get
Gold
run into the
Cup.
ground.
Before that, he was at Del Mar. He won a couple in a row. He's got a pretty good record, 18, 3, 6, and 6. He's a Giants Causeway. He will get the distance. Corey Nakatani and
Right.
Peter Miller going very, very good right now. The second spot, I put Mystery Train, the Darrell Vienna barn. Mike Smith takes over. I look for Mike Smith to have a big weekend this weekend. And coming out of, the Pacific Classic and then the Awesome Again, where he was near the lead in that Shared Belief race. So that's much tougher. And he's a Argentinian horse, so those horses run in big fields and run a long way. So I don't mind Mystery Train, especially with Mike Smith showing up on him. And in the third spot, I put Sky Kingdom, as you mentioned, the Bob Baffert horse in here for Victor Espinoza. Look for him just to relax, make one run. He's coming out of that same Shared Belief Grade 1. So I went 5, 6, and 7 in the second. On to the third, 2-year-old filly Golden State Calbred race, going 7 furlongs. Field of 9. I landed on the 4 of the Walter Solis barn. My Fiona, Rafael Bejarano takes over. Four starts, 2 wins, a second and a third. All in these kind of races. She's right there every time.
Yep.
She looks like she's going to be absolutely a factor in here. The second spot, I went with Ashley's Sassy out of the Peter Yurton barn. Broker Maiden 2 back. Another one, 3 starts. 2 wins and a third, so she fits well into this 7 furlong event. She's running six furlongs in her last 2 and winning pretty easily, so she could definitely make some noise in here. In the third spot, I went to Easter Fever out of the Peter Miller barn. I mentioned Peter Miller going very well right now, and she just finished second to Ashley Sassy. Those are the 3 I see in here, 4, 5, and 7.
Yeah, I got your same 2. I just flopped them. I went to the 7 Ashley Sassy. I see quite a bit of speed in here. I was going to hope Alonso Quinones.
The last
get
one
him,
she laid off and made a good run.
Yeah, and I think the 7/8 will help. The 5 furlongs was too short for her in her debut. She came back with 2 good runs, going 6. I think the 7 will really get her to improve even more. So I like the 7 Ashley Sassy. I put the 4 My Fiona. Really the 2 favorites, it looks like in here. They're the ones that have been dominating the Calbred categories. And I put the 9 Tatum's Gold, a newcomer, just broke its maiden, took 5 starts to break her maiden, but gets Rafael Bejarano takes off to ride My Fiona, but whatever, no worries. You still get Joel Rosario, which is good. And I like the post going 7/8 too. That's a 1-turn race. Sometimes the outside's a better spot to get a horse to relax. So I went 7, 4, and 9.
Not very tough to get an accomplished rider on these 2 days.
No, I know, that's right.
The docks room was full.
Yeah, no, it's it won't be because of a rider. You didn't get a good enough rider.
Exactly.
If you get beat. On to the 4th race. This is the Twilight Derby, Grade 2 event. Lots of money again, $200,000 for a 1.125 on the turf. We're going back to the turf for this one. I ended up on the European horse, or the French horse, Talco, number 2. Does have a run at Del Mar. Got in behind a very slow pace that day. Rallied to be 3rd. Was beaten by Sawyer's Hill. But I just think there's going to be a little more pace presence in here. And with the race under his belt, I think this horse is going to be pretty dangerous. So I like the 2 Talco and Corey Nakatani, who's very good with these type of horses. I put the 1 Sawyer's Hill in for second. I think that's the live race. Horse is coming out of the Del Mar Derby. And I put the 4 horse, Divine Oath, a horse that's been running. It was at Delaware Park last time. Still, this horse did win. The horse can chip. It looks like he handles any track. He went to Arlington Park. Gets Javier Castellano for Todd Pletcher. Good connections here. Nothing brilliant in this race for me. I went 2, 1, and 4. They're logical horses. They're all going to be under 5 to 1, but I think those are your 3 horses in the Twilight Derby.
I went to Mike Smith and Tom Proctor here, Enterprising. He comes out of that same race, the Del Mar Derby, but he was way back, and they were going very slow. 48 and 3 and 112. That's not really quick.
Yeah, he was the chalk last time. He's a horse that could rebound. You're right.
Yeah, and he had 2 wins before that. One of them was in the Grade 3 La Jolla, so I got him on top. The son of elusive quality. I went with Divine Oath, as you just mentioned, the Todd Pletcher horse in here with Javier Castellano. Coming from back east, well, he's kind of been a bit of everywhere. He's been at Keeneland, he's been at Arlington, at Penn National, Delaware. He ships good. He's a broken vow. He's ran a 1.125 once and he won, so I like that. And the third spot, I put Graham Motion's horse. He gets John Velasquez aboard Ring Weekend. He's throwing together a nice couple of wins with 196 buyer. Another one. 2 starts at 1.125 and he's won both of them, so keep an eye on him. I went 6, 4, and 11 in the 4th. Me and Mike didn't have any of the same horses there. As,
Well, it's going to happen a lot.
Exactly, as Mike mentioned, we're not at Hastings anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore. These ones, everybody's here for a reason, so you can make a case for all of them. Next race, 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up, the Damascus $100,000 race, going 3.5. And I went to the 7 here.
7, 3.5.
Oh, sorry, 7 furlongs, yes.
Yeah. No, 3.5. I know you were back at Hastings for a second.
I went to the 7 declassified of the Bob Baffert barn. Bob Baffert has 3 in here that all look very tough, and his main guy, Garcia, lands on declassified. That's what pushed me his way. He's got a nice little record on him, 6 starts, 3 wins and a second for the Son of Orientate. I put him on top. The second spot, I put Broadway Empire, a horse we know well in these parts. He won the Northlands Derby, the Canadian Derby last year. And he actually ran in the dirt mile last year and led most of the way. Obviously, it was a much tougher race and might be a little far for him. 7 furlongs, I think, is going to suit him very well. And Tyler Bay is very good front-end rider, so I got him in the second spot. In the third spot, I went with Midnight Hawk, a horse we haven't seen since the Illinois Derby, another Bob Baffert horse, Mike Smith, for Coach Joe Quenville. So I put Midnight Hawk in there for the third spot. I got 7, 9, and 2.
Yeah, I went to the 9 Broadway Empire. A bit of a sentimental choice, but I think him getting out of a graded Breeders' Cup race into this a lot easier spot, he can be more of a factor.
This should fit him
7/8
well.
is perfect, and as you mentioned, Tyler Bay's very good on the front end. Broadway Empire is just going to. There's not a pile of speed in here. I think he gets a very good. He doesn't absolutely have to have the lead, but he's a nice colt. He's better than his last race indicates. He was on turf. He's just not a turf horse. I mean, Robertino's been trying to get him on the turf and keep getting was rained off
the turf,
but last time at least he finds out, okay, let's screw, when I read the condition book,
back to
turf
the dirt.
X, but he's back to the dirt. And I think he's really live in here. He's a pretty cool 7/8 of a mile horse. I agree with the 2, Midnight Hawk, narrow loser last time. But still, that was a while ago, but I think 7/8 is perfect for him. I thought 9 furlongs at times was a little too far. And I put the 3, Chidu, another Bob Baffert horse. I mean, I declassify the one you have on top has a chance as well. You're splitting hairs with the 3 Bob Baffert horses. They're all very accomplished.
I just went with Garcia. Garcia's his man, and he might have got the live one.
Yeah, just a matter of who gets a trip. And I just thought Broadway Emperor might be able to clear those 3 Baffert horses and get the lead, and that might be enough to get him the win. I went 9, 2, and 3. In the Damascus. On to the 6th race. This is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. It's our first Breeders' Cup race.
Getting into the good ones now.
Yes, full field of 14. Couple waiting to get in as well. I went to the 7-horse War Envoy for Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah.
And I just think this horse is, he's a war front. He's got excellent pedigree. He goes on Lasix. This horse, he was in a Group 1 race last time at Longchamp. Didn't get away well, was a back mark. They went 7/8 and 120. I mean, that's rockets. It was firm turf. And you don't usually have that firm. And horses generally, when it's that firm, they don't make up big moves. But he wasn't disgraced in that race. His races prior to that were very, very good. I think he's really live in this spot. The European type horses generally do very well.
Absolutely. When they're on turf, look at the Euros.
Right. And so I'm going to go to War Envoy to win it. I put the 9-horse, another one, Actor Barte or Bante, excuse me, Ectabart Bante with Ollie Pesley in the irons, another Euro type, and running it Longchamp and some Sandown, and these are Group 1 horses with big numbers, 108 group time form rating. Those are top end 2-year-olds, and I think. Of the Americans, I put the 3-horse Luck of the Kitten in for 3rd for Wesley Ward. Sort of seems to have found a liking to the turf and being speed, and I didn't see a pile of speed in here. It's only a mile race. Yeah. So and another trainer to keep an eye on these kind of races is Chad Brown. He does have the 10 Startup Nation, and his horses have been doing extremely well in New York and at other places. But it was a really tough race. Yeah. No firm commitment here to anyone, but I went 7, 9, and 3.
I agree with the 7. I always steer towards Aidan O'Brien in these turf races, in these.
Ricky Moore, he's another go-to rider. He's been on the horse before.
These guys win a lot of these races, and for all the reasons you mentioned, I like War Envoy on top. I put the 5 Hootenanny, Wesley Ward's horse with Frankie Dettori in the irons in the second spot. Another one went over to started his racing career here, broke his maiden at Keeneland, then went over to Ascot. Won a race there by 3, then went in a Grade 1 in France and just got beat a half. That puts this horse right in the mix, especially with Frankie Dettori in the irons. And then third spot, I went with Commemorative. Charles Hill comes over. Another horse comes over from Great Britain for Judemont Farms. He's won his last two. Last one was a Group 3 race in Newmarket, and that will put him in the mix here. The race before that, the day broke his maiden. It was a 17-horse field, so a big field like this isn't going to bother him. I like Commemorative in the third spot. I got 7, 5, and 4 in the juvenile turf.
One of our good colleagues, Dr. Sport, Greg Douglas. I mean, excuse me. I think he'll be on the 13 in here. He's a big Lone Ranger fan. He's got Lone Ranger memorability.
Lawn Ranger.
And we got the cleverly named Lawn Ranger.
He may be the Lawn Ranger.
In the 6th race.
On to the 7th, the Dirt Mile for 3-year-olds and up.
Grade 1, another one.
Another grade 1, going a mile on the dirt. I went to the 8 Fed Biz. Nice 101 buyer last time out of the Bob Baffert barn. He's very fast. And if he can get the lead and keep going, I think he can hang on. You know that Bob Baffert will have him very sharp. His regular rider, Martin Garcia, aboard. He did just get beat a neck by Shared Belief in the last, and Shared Belief is going to be the favorite in the Classic, so that's why I went with Fed Biz on top. I put Golden Sense. He's probably your natural pick in here. He'll be your favorite for Rafael Bejarano. And Leandro Mora, Doug O'Neill's assistant. Look at the buyers, 100, 109, 105. Just got beat a nose last time by Rich Tapestry, a horse coming over from Japan. Golden Sense, it will be a short price there. I put him in the third spot. I went with Tapiture out of the Asmussen barn. Just got beat by Bayern. He's been running against,
good horses.
Good horses, yeah. Horses, and been winning, 100 buyers. He's in the mix too. I got 8, 1, and 9.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add. Those are the 3 horses. I chalked out with Golden Sense
yeah.
just because of the post. A 2-turn mile. If this was a 1-turn mile, I'd really like Fed Biz. But it's a 2-turn mile at Santa Anita, and the rail is such a big advantage. It's a short run into the first turn.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that tipped me over to Golden Sense, and you're not getting a great price on them. So, but Fed Biz and Tapiture are the logical horses to threaten Golden Sense. I went 1, 8, and 9. On to the 8th race. This is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf.
Girls' turn.
1 mile. 16 of them signed on. Only 14 can run. So always a crowded event. As I mentioned earlier about Chad Brown, he's just been on fire with his turf 2-year-olds back in New York, and he's got one here. He's got a few in here. I went to the one though, Partisan Politics. Javier Castellano rides, big number in the morning line. I don't know if you'll get that, but if you can, great. Got beat by Stablemate in his debut, or not a Stablemate, but a horse that's in the race here of Graham Motions, I think, the 7-horse. Came out and won a stake in his second start, did it very impressively, sitting close to a slow pace and blew the field away. Got too far back last time and against slow fractions, 25, 51. They flew home. The last part of the race was run ridiculously fast. This horse could only get 4th money, and it was just circumstances, I think, that got the horse beat. I think this race will have a lot more front-end presence to it. Let's try the 1, Partisan Politics, for Chad Brown and Javier Castellano. Put the 4, Lady Eli, another Chad Brown runner, undefeated daughter of Divine Park, and she's been very good in her 2 races. She benefited from the slow pace last time and went on to an easy win. Still there. This horse is pretty wrapped up at the end, and this horse is pretty nice, and probably only been scratched at the surface right now. You don't really know how good she is, but I'm hoping she's good enough to beat the Europeans, who are drawn poorly, and that's why I didn't. The 13 and 14 are going a 1 mile on the Santa Anita tight turns is really difficult because I know they're accomplished, but I still went to the Chad Brown runners, and I put the 2, Osalia, in for 3rd, Frankie Dettori. For Richard Hannon, and this
just won on this horse.
Just won at Newmarket, and it was a straightaway going 7/8. It's a straight 7/8 run, a little easier, but traffic-wise, but still must respect the connections.
Yeah.
I'm going to try. I don't. Usually I go to the Europeans in these. I'm going to try the U.S., especially Chad Brown. He's just had a miraculous season. I'm going to go to his horses. I went 1, 4, and 2.
I am going to the Euros, and I'm going to the outside. To the far outside, Aidan O'Brien. What can you say? He wins a lot of these races. This is his charge in here, this filly out of Fastnet Rock, out of a Galileo mare, well-bred. Coming off a win by 3 in a Group 3 at the Curragh. She looks like she could definitely make some noise in here. I went with Osalia, the one you mentioned, Richard Hannon's horse, Frankie Dettori in the second spot, just coming off a win in Great Britain. With Dettori on, and she won that, nicely over a field of 9 of them. In the third spot, I went to Sevolier. This is my turn to pick a tough one. Chad Brown, this horse moves into Chad Brown's barn. See the Stars has been a very accomplished sire over there in Ireland. And a nice record here, 5 starts and 3 wins. You don't really see the Euros rack up the wins the way you do with the North American horses. We kind of throw out horses that got beat a couple times over here. This horse is 5 starts, 3 wins, and jockey Gary Stevens in the tag.
Yeah, it's great to have Gary back.
Look for Gary Stevens to make some noise this weekend. He's going to be riding like, he started back riding, was it last year, and he won like 3 or 4 Breeders' Cup races.
As a 54-year-old can be, or 52-year-old
Yes, as fresh as they get. So I went 14, 2, and 6 in the juvenile fillies turf. On to the big one, the distaff. How much is the distaff worth now? $2 million for the older girls, going 1 mile and 1/8. And I've landed on probably what's going to be your favorite, the 10, Untappable, the 3-year-old filly. She's looked virtually unbeatable this year. The only time she's gotten beat in quite a while was in the Haskell, running against the 3-year-old boys, got beat by Bayern, and she didn't have a very good trip that day. Rosie had her kind of out wide, and she was getting knocked around, and she kind of moved early, and it just really wasn't her day. She came back and won the cotillion very comfortably, got the lead and kind of ran away from him. So I put her on top. I went with the 4-horse Bella Galante, a horse we know here, yes. I didn't pick her on top.
No, Glenn's going to have to watch this one, or not, just go to the washroom.
Yeah, exactly. Just ignore this one.
At Hastings for
she started out her career at Hastings, and then they lost her in California. She bounced around. Doug O'Neill had her. Bob Hess had her. Since showing up in Rudy Rodriguez's barn, though, she has just come to life. She beat... what did she beat? She beat Princess of Silmar last time, and then 2 starts ago, the Personal Ensign. I'll just throw that race out. That Close Hatches did win that race, but then she came back in the Grade 1 at Belmont and just absolutely destroyed them. Won by 8. She made over $1.1 million this year, and she's kind of like a horse that's really going the right direction. I think she's the now horse Bella Galante. I got her in the 2nd spot. And in the 3rd spot, I put another one of the favorites, Closed Hatches of the Bill Mott barn. She's done very little wrong lately, but just, getting beat by 7, kind of falling apart, not crazy fractions last time, and just kind of falling apart, just made me move her into the 3rd spot for Closed Hatches, but she'll be one of your favorites. I got 10, 4, and 11.
Yeah, I just worry about the draw of the outside 2 horses.
Yeah.
It's very tricky at Santa Anita, still at 1 mile and 1/8. They got a lot more of a run to the turn, but still, the 10 with Untappable and the 11 with Closed Hatches, it really handcuffs, they're
as I mentioned, Untappable getting that bad trip in the Haskell, that could happen to her again.
Yeah, that's what worries me. And so I really started looking around here, and the one horse that doesn't really have the qualifications yet to win, but does have, I think, a lot of raw ability is the 2-horse Tis Midnight. I'm going to try the Bob Baffert runner. Did lose to Beholder last time, who would be one of the favorites in here if she ran. Actually lost the lead on the turn when Beholder kind of just ran by her, but was coming back at her at the end. I was pretty impressed. This horse, lacks a little seasoning. It's only her 8th career start. I think she's going the right way. Untappable's had a long season. Closed Hatches has had a long season, traveling around. If you're ever going to beat these horses, it might be on today.
Home court and
Bella Galante, I don't know how she's going to do on the West Coast. She was just a high claimer prior.
Last time you saw her here, she got claimed for 20 in the Bob Hess barn,
and they ran her back for like 6 or 25 or something. It's not like they knew they had anything special. But I'm going to try the 2 Tis Midnight. This seems to be going the right way, and I like these kind of horses, and Victor Espinosa rides.
Only her 5th start of the year, 6th start of the year, as you mentioned. Nice and easy season for her.
Right. So I'm going to put her on top. I put Untappable and Closed Hatches in behind it for the reasons you mentioned. I mean, they're the quality fills. The 10 and 11 are the best fillies in the race.
Yeah.
Undoubted, I think. Don't Tell Sophia might make some noise. It's another one that likes the deeper Midwest tracks and has run very well at Churchill.
Local connection to keep an eye on the 5-horse, Chuck Fipke's horse, and Bridled Forever.
From Kelowna. Yep. Okay, but I went 2, 10, 11 in the distaff. On to the 10th and final. I got an optional claimer. Non-where's the one other than going 7/8 of a mile. Ended up quickly on the 7-horse. Jimmy Bouncer, and our good friend Mario Gutierrez for the Redhams. And Leandro Amora, of course, subbing for the suspended Doug O'Neill. Undefeated son of Square Eddie, and a lot of Redham's horses. I guess he owns Square Eddie, so a lot of his horses are by Square Eddie. But it looks like the 7/8 should be within his scope, and I'll try him to win it.
They've yet to beat him. Yeah.
Put the 11 Wine for Wine. That one's named after my mother-in-law. Maybe Wine for Wine. Mike Smith rides for Jerry Hollander.
Hi June, if you're watching.
Yes, I'm sure she will be. But nice win, 3 starts back. Ran against Open Company 2 back. I just think this horse got in behind a pretty slow pace last time. They ran pretty fast. Some next.
Ollendorfer does not run them out of line. If she's in here, he's in here for a reason.
And he's got Mike Smith aboard, and I put the 9-horse Demonic. Has was high hopes for him. Broke his maiden first time out. Was bet off the board. Easily beat a didn't win easily, but just won over next out winner Tis the Truth. Things kind of went off the rails after that, but the horse has been freshened up and gets back at Santa Anita where he did win. Good works for John Sadler. Give this one another look. I went 7, 11, and 9.
I don't have a whole lot to add. I got the same top two. I got Jimmy Bouncer. Nobody's beat him yet. This is a very live horse for Mario. Hopefully Mario can get a win on Breeders' Cup Day. In the nightcap, the 11 horse you mentioned, Jerry Hollendorfer's horse, Wine for Wine. Been running against some pretty tough horses. Red Outlaw, Patriots Rule. You only got beat 4 lengths by them. For an optional 40, this horse fits in here well. The third spot, I went with Bob Baffert's horse, Day of Fury. Broke his maiden last time on the lead. Went the whole way on the lead. He gets Gary Stevens, so maybe a little tip of the hat here. Baffert tells Gary, I'll get you a live one for the big day. I went 7, 11, and 2. That'll do it for our analysis of day 1, Friday, Halloween.
Breeders' Cup.
Halloween Breeders' Cup. Up next on screen will be our picks. Mike, as always,
there we go. Back in race number 1, I went to the 3 horse. Bling is my thing, 3, 7, and 8. In the second race, number 9. I went to Carey Street, hoping for a big pace, going 1 3/4. This one does come from off at 9, 5, and 7. Third race, I went to the 7 horse, Ashley Sassy, 7, 4, and 9. Race number 4, I went to the 2, Talco from France, 2, 1, and 4. Fifth race, I went to the 9, Broadway Empire, 9, 2, and 3. In the sixth race, the first Breeders' Cup race on the program, I went to the 7 horse, War Envoy, 7, 9, and 3. In the 7th race, the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, I went to the 1, Golden Sense, 1, 8, and 9. Those appear to be the obvious ones in there. 8th race, went to the 1, Partisan Politics, 1, 4, and 2. And in the 9th race, the Breeders' Cup Distaff, I went to the 2, Tis Midnight, hoping for a wire-to-wire performance from her. I went 2, 10, 11. And in the 10th and final, I went to Mario Gutierrez, 7, 11, and 9.
Up next are my picks. There we go. In the first race, I went to the 7, Night Song, over the 5 and the 11. In the second, I went to the 5, Big Casanova, over the 6 and the 7. In the third, I went to the 4, My Fiona, over the 7 and the 5. In the fourth, I went to the 6, Enterprising, over the 4 and the 11. In the fifth, I went to the 7, Declassify, over the 9 and the 2. Then in the Breeders' Cup races, the first one, I went to the 7, War Envoy, Aidan O'Brien's horse, over the 5 and the 4. In the 7th, I went to Fed Biz, over Golden Sense and Tapiture. In the 8th, I went to Qualify, another Aidan O'Brien horse, over Osalia and Civoliere. In the 9th, I went to the 10, the Distaff. I went to Untappable, over the 4, Bella Galante, and the 11, Closed Hatches. And in the nightcap, I agree with Mike. I'm going with my buddy Mario. On the 7, Jimmy Bouncer, over the 11 and the 2.
Right, that'll do it for day 1 of the Breeders' Cup Handicappers.
Trick or treat. Maybe
trick or treat.
Hopefully get more treats than tricks.
I know. Don't forget, we will be doing day number 2, this Saturday, November 1st, Breeders' Cup. 12 races, always a difficult handicapping assignment. Hopefully we're going to give you a little bit of insight, maybe some things you missed. We can hopefully point out, help you get a nice big fat superfecta or a big triactor, or pick 3s or whatever you like to play. But should be a great day. Weather's supposed to be great. It's in the mid 80s at Santa Anita. So should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they will not be running in the mud.
They will not. The races will stay on the turf.
Yes.
On behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in here to Handicapper's Corner. We'll see you next time here at the Derby Bar and Grill.
Of course, it all depends if it's red last night. I know it's